Hello, everyone. Welcome to Family Education Night focused on STEAM-powered learning. To get us started tonight, we want to jump into just a little bit of math. So if you would look at the picture on the screen and use the information in the first three problems to help you come up with a potential solution for the third problem. So where the question mark is, what would that answer be? Just going to give you a few minutes to work that out on your own. And then if you would send your answer to me, Carly Hancock, using the chat box, we'll discuss the answer as a group in just a couple of minutes. All right, I'm seeing answers coming in. I'm seeing 28. I'm seeing 30. I'm seeing 108. Another 28. A couple more 28s. Something that might help you out is that each pair of gloves, so these pairs are worth 3. So each pair is the number 3. And take note that this is a multiplication symbol. And so based on our order of operations, we need to multiply first. So we need to multiply this number by this number and then add this number. So if anybody would like to revise their thinking, give you a few more minutes. See a couple of changes. Seeing 30 coming up more often. Okay, so to solve this problem, you have a set of 3 and 3. So this is 6 times 2. The trees are worth 2. So 6 times 2 is 12, plus each of the snowmen are worth 8. So 2 snowmen. So 16 plus 16 plus 6, or 12 plus 16 is 28. All right. So if you're interested in doing problems like this with your child, you can go ahead and go online and you can search math in pictures and you will be able to find more problems like this than you know what to do with. They have them for holidays. They have them for animals. They have them with food. You name it, you can find it if you just search for math problems by pictures. Before we get into the information about STEAM, I'd just like to share some good news with you that we're celebrating here at Sierra Heights. As of earlier this week, 50%, so half of our classrooms have participated in art docent lessons done via Zoom. And out of our 157 4th and 5th graders, 121 of them have earned a recorder karate belt. Most of our classrooms have launched our first science unit teaching of the year, and the rest of them will be launching right after winter break. And in each of those units, K-5, 11 to 15 next generation science standards will be covered. We've also dug into our information about the variety of languages represented here at Sierra Heights, and our students and families speak more than 23 different languages. Last week, we wrapped up our parent-teacher conferences just before Thanksgiving, and we had 93% of our students and families attend their parent-teacher conferences. And our last celebration is the number of students in 1st through 5th grade that have completed iReady lessons to date is 266. So there are lots of great things we're celebrating both academically and as a community here at Sierra Heights. Now to our real focus for tonight. It's on STEAM-powered learning, and we're so excited that you're all here to learn about STEM careers and education, and what opportunities might be out there for your student in the next few years in their education and on into their life as adults in professions. Our agenda for tonight is on the screen. We'll have a special guest speaker in just a few moments. Her name is Emily Glendred. She is a former Sierra Heights Eagle, a Hazen High School graduate of the class of 2020, and is currently a mechanical engineering student at Boise State. After Emily speaks to us, we'll do a brief overview of why STEAM and/or STEM education is so important and why it's something that's being talked about in education so much. And then we'll go into each of the letters of STEAM, keeping in mind that the S is for science, the T is for technology, the E is for engineering, the A is for the arts, and M is for math. And in the middle there, we have tucked in a spotlight on the International Hour of Code, because that week is coming up next week. So why STEAM or STEM? The reason that you hear so much talk about STEAM or STEM learning or careers is because by 2022, there will be 9 million STEM or STEAM-related jobs in the United States. And currently, Washington State is ranked second in the country in the concentration of STEAM jobs. If you think about the location of Microsoft and Google, we have some Facebook offices here as well, even some outside facets of Amazon. They're all located in this area, which is why we're second in the country in the concentration of those jobs. Also thinking about and bringing into the mix Boeing. Another reason we're talking about STEAM and STEM so much is in the next 10 years, many of the 30 fastest growing jobs will require STEAM or STEM skills. And the other piece that's super important to think about while your students are in school now is that STEAM or STEM education provides opportunity for cross-disciplinary teaching and learning. So when many of us went to school, we had a chunk of our day where we spent working on just reading, and then a chunk of our day where we spent just working on math, and then another chunk where we spent working on science. STEAM and STEM really incorporates multiple content areas at the same time. So in the learning for students, we might be reading something in science, which brings in that reading piece. And then based on the writing and their lab procedures, we're bringing in the writing piece, but it's all around concepts of science. The other important thing to know about STEAM and STEM learning is that it's highly based in problem solving and real world connection and application, so that students are seeing how their learning is connected to life outside of school and beyond their years spent in school on into adulthood. This graph just shows you King County and the supply and demand projections for STEM jobs. And it shows you how, based on the level of education, how many jobs will be available, and specifically what jobs will be unfilled due to people not having the credentials to be able to serve in those jobs. And this is just for STEAM and STEM jobs. Now getting into a little bit deeper dive of science. On this page, we have some information about the next generation science standards. And approximately 3 years ago, just after the inception of the Common Core, next generation science standards were brought to life. And they're based around this graphic up here. So they're based around a phenomena or an idea. And then there are core ideas that are connected to that phenomena. There are cross-cutting ideas that cut across different types of science and different content areas, such as math and reading and writing. And then there are practices, and these are what scientists would do. So these are the actual practice in labs and the experimentation that goes along. And then down at the bottom, these two boxes have links to how the science standards make sense to kids and how teachers use them to prepare your kids. And as we go through this, I want to point out that many of these pictures are links to websites. So if you click on them, they will take you to a website and to pages that will give you more information. So thinking about this overall idea of STEM and more specifically to science, these are the top STEM industry jobs here in the state of Washington related to science, and how many approximate openings and what the degree or credential that is needed is for each profession, and the approximate wage. So depending on the area and depending on how specific and you're also the level of expertise and education you have, your wages determined. But these are just some of the top industries and STEM jobs here in our part of Washington State. We're going to skip over this video for the sake of time, but Neil deGrasse Tyson is one of our favorite scientists, and this is just a brief, approximately 5-minute video about really allowing your kids to explore and experiment, and some ideas of ways that you can help them do that and ways that they already do it naturally that as adults we can sometimes stifle unintentionally. So if you have a few moments, you can click on that play signal right in the middle and watch this video on having your kids explore in science. All of the pictures on this page are links to websites that give you opportunities to practice science at home with very few materials. So one that we're going to highlight is called Learning in Places, and I'm going to go ahead and click on this right now. And Learning in Places goes through and provides you with a variety of different activities. And as you click on these different activities, it takes you to some resources. There might be some worksheets. There might be a little video to play before you do it. There might be some predicting that they ask you to do. And then there might be some additional follow-up information that you can access after you've gone on the walk. So if you notice on the right-hand side, it is in a couple of different languages. And these involve us being able to get outside, but in a safe and socially distanced way, since that's something that we're not able to do a whole bunch of right now. And then moving on to a deeper dive into technology. There are going to be approximately 1 million unfilled jobs by 2020 involving technology. And the reason is because not everyone is going into these fields, and those people that aren't enough to fill the current jobs that are currently available and will be available. So if we look at this pie graph up in the right-hand corner, 60% of STEAM and STEM jobs are going to involve technology or computer science, and 40% are going to involve math and science and things like engineering and other things. So thinking about these 1 million unfilled jobs, that's a $500 billion opportunity that's being missed in wages. So just to give you a sense of how important technology is and how important these jobs are going to be moving forward. And then thinking about the purpose of technology, technology really works with 21st century schools, 21st century skills. And what 21st century skills are is those are the skills that when talking to major companies and businesses, those are the skills that the leaders have said that they would like their employees to have. So there's learning skills, and those are a lot of inter and intrapersonal skills. And then there's literacy skills, and if you notice, literacy skills aren't just being able to read and write. They're mostly focused around technology and information and being able to access what you need. And then they're life skills, and those are also inter and intrapersonal skills, so skills that you need when working alone and also working with others. The other thing that we have to think about when we think about technology is digital citizenship, and teaching our students what digital citizenship means, how to safely search and how to safely work online, and understanding the meaning of their digital footprint and how far reaching that can be and how long that digital footprint is there, which is essentially forever. So one tool that we use here in the Renton School District that's an excellent way to help build students' digital citizenship understanding is called Common Sense Media. And we use Common Sense Media to teach digital citizenship here to our students, and we're doing this online, especially now that we're in a remote virtual learning environment. But a great resource for families that you have on Common Sense Media is under this Parents Need to Know tab. These ultimate guides are ultimate guides to what you need to know about how different technology platforms work, such as TikTok and Minecraft and Zoom, and also things that you can do as a parent to help keep your kids safe. And then if you look over here under topic, these are all things that you can click on to give you some guidelines about how to limit the time or how much time to allow regarding screen time and social media, and things to be aware of as a parent, because we all know that we're navigating new technological platforms all the time. And on this page, we have a brief video about computer science and all of the different things that we know about today that involve computer science, not just computer programming, but things like medicine and fashion design and safe and healthy energy practices. So if you have a few moments, this video is roughly about 3 minutes, and it gives you kind of an inside look at how computer science touches various industries. This box up here links you to code.org, which is a site that many of our students in classrooms will be using next week for International Code Week. And if you go into this website, you can click on various activities at different levels to practice coding. So even if you have students that have never coded before, there will be activities that they can watch videos or just try out and code at a very basic level to things that are more complex. The website I'm going to take you to is the Renton Hour of Code website, and this was created by Renton educators to help everyone understand the importance of Hour of Code Week, and also provide, if we look up here across the top, these are resources in each of these grade level bands for students to be able to click on and go to activities and information that's age appropriate regarding coding. So we're going to allow you a few minutes to click on this little picture of dance party, and this is a code.org activity. It's very basic, and you'll have two options once you get there. One option is to be able to just read about it and learn how to use the activity, and another one is to just jump in and start practicing coding, and this is a very basic level coding activity. So we'll give you a few minutes. If you want to turn off your camera, you can go ahead and do that. Make sure you mute yourself, and we'll give you about 5 minutes to just work on practicing some coding. I know that wasn't quite 5 minutes, but we want to keep moving. We want to make sure that we are finishing up right at 7 o'clock. So based on anything you've seen so far, have you come across any questions, anything you're wondering about when it comes to science or technology? All right, so jumping into engineering, if you have a few minutes, this is about a little over a 1 minute video of a teacher talking to her students about who can be an engineer and getting a sense of their understanding of what engineering is and how you do it and who they know and see that are engineers. And this is just a graphic showing the different types of engineering and what kinds of fields are involved in each of those types of engineering. And this takes us to a website with just some basic, easy to do kind of engineering activities or videos to watch about how different parts of engineering work. So this is another link that you could go and check out and do a little deeper dive into engineering. These are also several websites that are connected to engineering. Some of them are some pretty well-known. PBS Kids is one that a lot of people know. Of course, we all know NASA. We're going to check out Science Buddies tonight. And this one has 12 engineering design challenges for remote learning. And what's neat about this one is it lays out the challenge and it does it in quite a few activities that don't require a lot of materials from your house. And so if you click on the blue hyperlink, it tells you what the challenge is and it tells you what materials you need to be able to have your student participate in them. So Science Buddies is always updating and adding things, and Science Buddies is not just STEAM and STEM, but it does have quite a few activities focused on STEAM and STEM. I see over here there's some holiday STEAM projects too. So this would be a great one to try out in the coming weeks and also over winter break if you're looking for some easy at-home activities to do. Next, we move on to A is for the arts. And the arts is, believe it or not, a $730 billion industry. And the highest paid job involving the arts is an art director. Art directors make approximately $94,000 a year. Sometimes when we think about the arts, we focus in on the drawing or painting, and we forget about a lot of the other types of arts. And so when we see this list of common occupations related to the arts, cartoonist, cinematographer, architect, photographer, and multimedia artist, it prompts us to think a little more in depth or a little farther past just drawing and painting. And two of the most common entry-level jobs, so thinking about those with just bachelor's degree, are art teacher and graphic designer. And as of a couple of nights ago, when I was looking for updated information, there are approximately 200 occupations involving the arts currently posted for the state of Washington. And as I mentioned just briefly a few moments ago, the arts is more than just the visual arts of the drawing and painting and sculpture. There's also the story and the poem and the drama that goes along with literature. That's a form of art. The graphic arts, which are really one-dimensional, and design and drawing, the plastic arts, the decorative arts, the performative arts, theater, dance, music, and architecture. These are by no means an exhaustive list of examples, but just some of the examples that I thought would help you really understand these different categories of the arts. And on this page, we have several different websites to access. Ballet for Kids is an excellent website. It is not just ballet. There are all different types of dance classes for all different age levels and experience levels, and they're all being done via Zoom. So they do recommend that kids turn on their camera because it's easier to help them, but it doesn't mean that they have to. And you just click on it and sign up, and then they send you a Zoom link and you hop online for your class. Tinkercad is a free computer-aided drafting or drawing program and website, and students can go there and begin to learn how to do computer-aided drawing and drafting literally from the page up. The Philadelphia Orchestra is one of many orchestras, including our local orchestra here in Seattle, that are offering virtual music experiences. The reason that I highlighted the Philadelphia Orchestra is because they actually have family guides and special times for family performance and discussions that go along with the performance that you'll be able to watch. But like I said, there are many orchestras and musical foundations that you can search for online that are offering virtual experiences at this time. And then Mr. Mo Willems, everyone's favorite author of Elephant and Piggy and the Pigeon books. Since we have been out of school, and this goes all the way back to March, through the Kennedy Center, Mo Willems spends at least 1 hour every day offering guided drawing with kids for some of his favorite characters in his book. He's done the pigeon, he's done Elephant and Piggy, and he's also unveiled some new characters. So oftentimes it's at lunchtime when students are ready for a break, but they're all listed on the website. So if lunchtime doesn't work out for you, you can go back and click on them and view them at a different time that's not lunch. The website I'm going to highlight, though, is called Met for Kids, and this is actually the Metropolitan Museum of Art website. And the kids site is actually a virtual digital version of the museum itself. And these little dots have they're all hyperlinked. And so this is a map of the Museum of Art. And then if you go into each of these and click on them, you can see the information that you would see if you were actually there visiting the museum. And then you can click on something else, and it will show you a picture of what the exhibit looks like and provide you the information that is there if you were to be standing right in front of it. So the Metropolitan Museum of Art for Kids is a great site for just some art exploration. And then one of the favorite websites here at school is called Art Hub for Kids, and we use this every once in a while just for a little bit of a brain break. The great thing about this site is that it's a family that runs it, so it's a husband and wife and their kids, and depending on what the picture is, sometimes it's the husband and wife drawing together, sometimes it's one of the parents and one of the kids, sometimes it's both of the kids. And they take the kids through a very nice step-by-step at a reasonable pace. It's not too fast and it's not too slow. And then at the end, they give them some ideas of how to color it. So if you have a few moments, once again, you can click on that play button in the middle. And this one actually teaches you how to draw a hibernating bear.
Hey friends, they're going to draw a bear.
And we're going to wrap up with the last letter in STEAM, which is for math. M is for math. And employment occupations involving math are projected to grow by 27% in the next 8 years. And so when thinking about this, not only are we looking to have more math jobs in the next 8 years, but those people that have chosen to go into professions that are involving math are going to be making more than $90,000 a year. So some of the most common math occupations are actuaries, astronomers, physicists, accountants, and economists. And many of the engineers have degrees in math as well. So oftentimes an additional major or a minor in math is what engineers have. The other thing to know is those math occupations that are making $90,000+ a year, many of them only require that the person hold a bachelor's degree. So you can get into a pretty solid career path in math and not have to go on to the master's and doctorate level if you do not want to. And currently, as of a couple of nights ago, there are 1,200 math occupations posted in our state alone. On this website, we have several clickable links to different things, different ways to practice math in creative ways. These bottom two are not links, iReady and Dreambox, and the reason that they are not links is because those can be accessed through Clever when your child is logged into his or her Gmail account at school. And the reason that I don't link them is because you can access these websites outside of Clever, but they will not be linked to your student. And it's important that they are linked to your student because that's how we track their progress. We can see how much time they've been spending and what they've been working on. And it's set up to be putting out lessons to your son or daughter that improve their skills in a particular area based on need. And so these are not linked because you can access them through Clever. GregTangMath.com is an author that wrote several picture books involving math, very similar to the problem I showed you at the very beginning of tonight. I think he's up to 11 or more titles now. And so if you go to GregTangMath.com, you can access any of his books. You can access math problems and pictures and some other things. You can also go to any bookstore in person or online and access Greg Tang books. One of them, the first one that he wrote, was called The Grapes of Math. So they're a little catchy and they're a little fun, and they just involve some outside the box thinking. Table Talk Math is full of just short activities for math that you can literally talk about at the dinner table. So one of my favorites is Which One Doesn't Belong? And it will give you a series of numbers or pictures or diagrams that are math related, and then maybe one or maybe several don't belong, and depending on your rationale, you can explain why that particular one doesn't belong. So Table Talk Math is a great one for all ages, and it's a great discussion starter for any age and outside the dinner table and at the dinner table. The website I'm going to highlight is called G. Fletchy. And G. Fletchy is a mathematician with a great sense of humor. And he is known for something called 3-act tasks. 3-act tasks start at kindergarten and go all the way up into the middle school level. And you can tell what grade level they're for by the letter or number right in front. K is kindergarten, obviously, and then 1, 2, those are for the grade levels. And the great thing about 3-act tasks is the entire thing is here in one spot. So if we click on this one called Bag o' Chips, you are first going to see a little video. And this just sets the stage for the task. And so what it does is it shows you a video. This one's only 40 seconds long, and then some questions to consider. Okay. And then after that, you can click on these subsequent videos that also have questions to answer. And then the last video plays the entire task out and gives you an answer to your original question. So G. Fletchy is just a great way to show how everyday materials involve math. One of my favorite ones of him is his daughter is a Girl Scout. And he actually has a video about a minivan and how many boxes of Girl Scout cookies can be packed into a minivan. And he's laid it out in a 3-act task. So this is just a great website for just a short way to get at some really deep thinking regarding math. And then we are asking everyone here tonight to consider participating in the Tin Foil Boat Challenge. That is a STEAM challenge that requires a 3x3-inch square of tin foil, quite a few pennies, and some sort of container with water. And what you do is you make a boat of any design. The only constraint is that it needs to have a flat bottom. And then you place pennies 1, maybe 2 at a time in the bottom of the boat, and you're counting how many pennies you can put in your tinfoil boat before it sinks. And we're asking that if you immediately after this or sometime in the coming days participate in the Tinfoil Boat Challenge, we're asking that you email pictures of you and your family participating in the Tinfoil Boat Challenge to our assistant principal, Carly Wyatt, at this email address by next Friday, December 11th. We'd like to be able to post families having fun with STEAM on our social media websites and platforms. And one last opportunity for any questions you may have, any wonderings about STEAM and how STEAM learning looks at school. All right. So as we've mentioned before, family education nights are something that we're doing this year at Sierra Heights on the first Thursday of every month on a variety of topics. Our next topic is going to be writing, and that family education night will be taking place the Thursday right after winter break at 6 o'clock p.m. via Zoom. So Thursday, January 7th at 6 o'clock p.m. via Zoom. If you're interested in learning how to become a writing rock star. We look forward to seeing you. So mark this date on your calendar and be looking for reminders next week, the following week, and immediately after winter break. And lastly, before you hop off, I'll be dropping this link below into the chat box. And if you could type it into your browser or click on the link and go to this brief survey, it's actually just posting, answering questions. We would like to know what were some things you learned tonight, what were some questions that you still had, and what is a family education night you'd like to see us do in the future. As I mentioned just a moment ago, writing will be the focus of our family education night for January, but we have not determined the topics for February and beyond. So we're always looking for insight into what you as families would like to know to be able to best help and engage your child in learning outside of the home. So thank you so much for being here. We appreciate your time, and we hope that you're leaving us with some great ideas of ways to do some STEM learning in your own home. Have a great evening, everyone.